this episode of Roadworthy Rescues, we take on refurbishing a big tractor. Something a little different this week on Roadworthy Rescues. How about a big row crop tractor? This 1978 International 1086. And I've got to drive it over 50 miles back home on the highway. That's great. First time I'm seeing it, let's walk around it, see what it's going to take to get fired up, and start getting some miles down. So the 86 Series International is probably the most iconic international tractor ever made. If you say, draw me a tractor, bam, here it is. This is a 1086 and it was followed by the 1486 and so forth. This makes 146 horsepower out of a 6-cylinder diesel. It's got an 8-speed transmission back there as well. These were made from 76 to 81. This one's a 78. You can tell because of the way that it is, basically. This one doesn't currently have duals. You can run duals on them. But this was your big farm tractor back in the day. You disc, cultivate, seed, hay, whatever. And I plan to pull a big baler with this thing for hay season. The engine looks like it's had some filters on it. Maybe the injector pump has been messed with. We could walk over to the other side, take a peek at it. And then I guess just jump in the cab and see if this thing fires up. Nope, I'm sure it'll have dead batteries or something. I'll meet you over there. Oh, she's straight piped. Just the way I like them. Oh, look at this. Okay. So we've got a friend along for the ride today. That seems fine. These filters not so fresh. This one's probably 97,000 years old. It's had a charging whirler at some point, but otherwise we've got a lot of a ridge in here. You can see the IH casting on there. I really don't know how many hours this has. We'll try to figure that out though as we continue to look along. Surprised that it has doors on it. Normally the first thing you do on these is take the doors off. That one's locked, security purposes. These are normally mangled off. We still have a step. That's pretty cool. Rear tires are super weather checked. This thing is raw tin. It does have the dually hub though, so that's great. Let's go around back here and check out the business end. Got the business end of the 1086 back here. Big, beefy, fully adjustable 3-point here. Adjustable drawbar on this, side to side, in and out. And it's got a dual PTO. You've got your 540 PTO and your 1000 PTO there as well. And all the hydraulics and everything else here. You can carry up to, I think, 80 gallons on these. There's a primary and some had an auxiliary tank as well. And you're going to need that because these are not fuel efficient. If memory serves me correctly, that is correct. Other than that, it's just big red truck. If it ain't red, leave it in the shed, okay? Let's climb in this thing. We got some webs to move. My web deleter 400 here. Yeah, ooh. Pretty sure that was a cockroach. Oh, it's a massive spider, actually. The seat says low hours. Also, I noticed the shifter isn't snapped off. Normally these break right here because you just have to slam these in the gears. All right. Oh. Yep, very uncomfortable. Okay, our torque amplifier is gone. that didn't do much torque amplification at all. I love these consoles. It was kind of a precursor to what was going to come in the 80s. We got our ether, headlights, ignition, start button, all your basic stuff. Here you've got park, and you've got your high and low range basically in reverse. And then you've got your gear selector, first through fourth over here. And then you've got your hydraulics over on this side over here. This did have, the ACs, but it's been slightly modified ceiling-wise. I'm going to guess that doesn't work. Go ahead and open these up. So now as a tyke, this is where you'd sit. There or here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and see if this thing fires up. We're going to assume it runs. So I'm going to bump it off here. Park. Look at that. Nice. Sounds pretty good. All right, let me crawl it out of the shed. Start getting some miles down. The reason I'm roading this is like a 13,000-pound tractor. I don't have a trailer that's what's bent in half, basically, so we're roading it. Shifter handle came off. Okay, see you guys. Well, this is going to be all of today. Unfortunately, the very first thing I have to do is point this straight down a very steep grade. Speaking of which, I should probably check the brakes. They seem to work, and now they're kind of stuck. There we go. So I'm going to choose a gear that I can brake with as well. Steering assist works. Everything is extremely loose and falling off. Hours say 1,479, so it's either 11,000 or 21,000. Maybe 31,000. I don't know. This thing is hammered. It's the cheapest 1086 I could find within 100 miles. One of the reasons I wanted a 1086 as well is I do want to run duals on this because there's a lot of side hills in Tennessee. That'll be hay. And it's nice to have the stability. We're going 17 miles an hour. It ain't wide open. Reason being is these will start bouncing really bad and they get you bucket. And then the front tires are just dangling and it gets super sketchy. So, plus I don't know if this overheats. Nothing. Oh, I guess we're throwing it on the interstate. Forgot about that. Why not? Thirsty, so might as well run in and get something. Boop, boop. Jeep looks small. So a guy just finished up dinner. We got the International 1086 1086 back on the highway. We've got 31 miles back to Vice Grip Garage. I'm going to start making a list tonight of things that need repair, upgraded, updated. Tractor needs a little bit of help, but seems to be running great so far. And it's not getting hot, which is one of my biggest worries. So I guess 2 or 3 more hours of this and we'll be back, hopefully. Oh, some samples. You gotta go around people. I can't go any faster. Oh, speed limit 35. Well, let me slow her down with that. Crap, this is freshly planted. I did not see that. Now I feel really bad. Check on the allergies, woo! Shortcut through a neighborhood, I guess. Yeah, I know I look like it, but I'm not UPS. Hey, lady, settle down. We made it over 50 miles on the road. We made it back to Vice Grip Garage's Southern Tennessee, which is where we're going to be working on the 1086. It runs really, really good, but I still have a lot planned for this thing. That's going to have to wait until tomorrow, because right now I've got to jump on another tractor and hay for the rest of the night. So we'll see you in the morning. Yesterday, I rode this 1978 International 1086 over 50 miles to South Central Tennessee here, where we're going to be sprucing this thing up. Now, this 414 runs great, albeit noisy and leaky and smoky, but that's just normal, right? So for once, I don't think I got to do anything with the engine and transmission or anything else like that. So we're going to put the time and effort into the looks department. And I can tell you the interior in this thing is absolutely trashed after spending an entire day in the thing. The seat's gone, all the foam is gone. There's no accoutrements or anything remotely nice. Not that you have to have that in a tractor, but if it runs good, it should look good. We're going to start with paint, and it would take me weeks to hand sand all these old sun-faded decals and everything off this tractor. So we're bringing in our friends again, and they're going to blast this thing for us really quick. It's going to save us a ton of time. We're actually going to be painting the exterior of this tractor, and I've even got decals. It's going to look cool. So one of the huge benefits about having this blasted over sanding it is also I don't have to tape off any of the hoses or rubber or plastic. They have a material made of glass that's abrasive enough to get all of this paint and rust and stuff off of the tractor, but it's not going to hurt anything else, and it just falls into the ground and goes away. Making 5x5 brown bales, and I'm using a newer E-Series John Deere tractor. Now, ironically, I have severe outdoor allergies, which, right, growing up on a farm and doing this stuff is not ideal. So this tractor was critical for me with the closed cab and the filter systems and everything that it has. Which brings me to a point, there's a lot of pros and cons with new equipment versus old equipment. One of the biggest cons of newer equipment, any farm equipment, is the cost. It's tremendously expensive today, but it's very, very comfortable. You get air conditioning and fancy radio and lights and very accurate digital displays and gauges and things of that nature that can make farming and ranching a lot easier. But in this particular case, as you can probably hear right now, this thing is bogging trying to pull this bale up the hill, which is why some of that older equipment, you just can't beat it. That 1086 has literally twice the horsepower as this tractor, and that's why I need to hook it to this baler. Crawling around the hills of Tennessee, this tractor just is not cutting it. For that, I can use this for running the hay conditioner. It'll do just fine there, and that's when my allergies are worst. And then I can put the brute on and pull the baler up these hills here. Right now I'm just watching the bale monitor, trying to make sure we get a nice round bale. And we're getting close to ejecting one here in just a minute, actually. Guys have been out here blasting for the better part of a day, and it just goes to show you how much time that's actually saving. It would have taken me weeks to hand sand this thing to get ready for paint. Now, not only do we have Tennessee's cheapest 1086, but we're discovering I also own the rustiest 1086 maybe in the nation. The bottoms of the doors, the door latches, the roof, the top of the roof, anywhere where metal touches metal, that joint, there's no joint. So there's going to be a lot of spray foam and silicone and tape and I don't know. It's going to get weird, but it'll have color soon. The only way to close the door on a 1086 is to slam it as hard as you can. But after years and years and years of abuse, this whole latch mechanism was basically just hanging by a thread. So the door was flopping around. So I'm welding in this box again, getting some structure back into the cab, trying to weld through rust and bent up stuff. We're not going to do everything. We're going to do the basics. So even though this whole tractor, particularly the cab, is just a rod box, I couldn't live with the rust in the bottom of the doors. So I'm going to town, putting patch panels in. You got to cut it out, putting in fresh metal in, grind it down, put this skim of Bondo on it. I'm going to keep messing with that tonight. It's going to be a very long night, but I've got to get this done before we roll it into our blow-up paint booth thing. But soon, we'll have color on this thing. Back on the International 1086, I just finished up some body work on the doors here and the hood. No longer looks like Swiss cheese, which is great. I'm going to stop there. There's a tremendous amount of work that can be done. I've got to make the cab a little bit more water sealed, but we're going to call that good enough. Going to move on to the rear duals. If you ask any tractor owner, their favorite thing is switching tires and adding or removing duals. Said no one ever. It's very physically demanding and extremely dangerous, so I'm very excited to jump in. Now we're going to be doing some tire swap-a-rooney here. We're going to take the inside off. This has got to go down and get replaced. It's chunked, it's weather checked, it's not going to last. And we're going to put a dual on the outside for now so we can wheel this thing into our bouncy house paint booth thing. I don't know what's happening. We got bottle jacks and boards and pry bars galore. Let's see if we can get it done. Right now we're playing Jenga. We got some treated 4x4 posts, and I'm cutting blocks out of it. And we're going to stack blocks, I don't know, 1.5 feet high at least, then jam in a bottle jack. Try to not make it lean any direction. Bottle jack it to where we can get this tire hovering, and then try to slide this off without it toppling over. It's gonna be a good day. So the reason I'm trying to take the hoop off of the hub and just take the tire and the hoop off instead of the whole wheel or rim assembly is, well, first of all, this dually hub would need to come off. Someone booger welded it. That would need to be ground down. This is the weird wedge and bolt style hub. You got to try to get this bolt out, which relaxes like a wedge that goes in here. And then you have to try to slide this off of the axle shaft. A tremendous amount of work. So instead, I'm going to try to maneuver this hoop off. We're going to temporarily mount a dual on it to move it around. And then when these get wrapped in the rubber, we have to reverse what was done. So this is actually a crew, not the hired farmhands. They're just manhandling it. They got the younger, lower back assist, you know what I mean? Okay, let me jack it a little. There we go. Wow. It was too easy. Take it off. Let's do it again. Look, the duals are on, but the insides are gone. Who knew they had disc brakes? They're even drilled. Yeah, sorry about that one. Anyway, now we need to finish sanding the tractor. Yes, we are going to sand at least some of it. Not any of this stuff, but the hood panels and things like that. I got to get a couple panels off. You know, I at least want to get somewhat goodish, okayer paint on it. Just good enough to where we can run it into the tavern again. And looking out the window, it looks great in the parking lot. We got a bunch of rot and rust in here, and I need to fix this right because we're in Tennessee. It rains a lot, just like today. We don't want moisture getting into the cab. Plan on doing something with the interior. I gotta patch the roof. So I've talked the crew into helping because there's a lot of metal. So we're using the old international scaffolding system here. Should work fine. Safe. Finished what little body work he's going to do, or I should say want to do. Cab should be pretty sealed up, and boy, is that thing insulated now. It's really going to keep the heat in. Great. We're going to go ahead and roll this outside and try to drive it into the bouncy castle you see back there. Hopefully the thing fits and the exhaust pipe doesn't burn a hole in the ceiling, because then it would just... So there's 4 colors that comprise this whole tractor, basically. And I'm gonna stick to a traditional look, but I am gonna make a couple small changes. A, because that's just the way I want it. And B, I'm lazy, and it'll be easier. So hear me out. We're gonna do the red, international red. Everything you see is red. Red, 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 red front wheel. The cab, however, traditionally, the post is white, the roof is white, but right here on this door line, these are actually black. The frame of the door and the frame of the window is black. I'm not going to do that, though, because we'd have to come back and tape a third time. I'm just going to run this line here. The cab will be white. We'll use the textured decal in the back and make sure that that's done correctly. One of the bigger changes you're either going to love or hate is going to be the duals. The hoop was a silver color and the hub was red. Instead of doing that, I'm actually going to paint both wheels, the whole thing, the hoop and the hub, white. Kind of give me some different colors with the cab. And then of course you've got the radiator panel up here. This will be white here as well. So those are our main colors. We're going to start with the white, get the cab done, get the wheels sprayed, let that dry, and then we'll come back and blast this red in, and that's when things are really going to start changing. Should be fun. So for paint, the guy's keeping it simple, and we're keeping it cheap, of course. You know me. Keep the billfold closed. We're going to use the Krylon Farm and Implement paint, just a basic white. We've got the reducer for that, and we've got the catalyst, or basically a hardener. We're going to mix that 3 to 1 to half, and that's going to be our single stage enamel, essentially, our white color, and we'll have the same product for the red. But the cherry on top, or the chef's kiss, is I'm actually going to add in the Vice Grip Garage White or Spray On Clear. With its activator, we're going to do a 75 to 25 mixture, so 75% enamel with 25% clear, and it's going to give it a really lustrous shine, and it should protect that color very, very well. So let me mix up some batches here. We're going to go in, we're going to use this El Cheapo, no brand name gun, lay down some color. What's the worst that can happen? It's gray right now, right? White's laid on, it looks fantastic, although I have to admit I'm not as agile as Billy Goat anymore. I struggled there a minute, but we're waiting for this to dry. Unfortunately, two things are hindering us. One, I laid it on super thick, and the humidity is very, very high. It's actually raining right now, so it's hindering our dry time. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to tape the red tonight. We're going to have to let this dry overnight. Tomorrow morning, first thing, we're going to lay bright red international paint on this tractor. It's going to look awesome. See that? The following morning, getting ready to lay down some red paint on the International 1086. The white looks great. That's all taped off. I've painted a lot of tractors, nothing this big. It's going to be interesting and new. Going to crawl around underneath and do the rear end first, then get into the flat metal. Let's turn this thing red. The tractor is red. It looks fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to see this thing all unwrapped. And I've got decals for it and a full Western interior kit you guys have got to see. It's going to be great. But I put this paint on really, really thick, let's be honest, especially towards the end. The guy was getting a little woozy. We're going to have to let this dry. It's probably going to take all day. So we'll see you, I don't know, see you in a while. We'll get back to work. It's our final day on the 78 International 1086, and what a big project this has been. But look, the paint is dry. It looks fantastic. And Adam, the Tint Master 9000, is here adding 5% tint to the side windows and back windows of the cab, trying to keep this thing cool. Now, we have a tremendous amount of work. There's panels to go back on, stickers, exhaust, whole bunch of interior pieces, not to mention have to wrestle on the inside tires and put some front tires on. So I've asked the fine folks that help make this TV show to help. Yeah, the guys holding the camera and whatnot. So we're all going to tackle this thing, jump in, try to get this thing done. And hopefully by the end of the day, we'll be dragging around a baler with this thing. Oh, I think I see the problem. Might have forgot one bolt. Oh, now we know. The front tires just aren't gonna cut it. One's extremely bald and the other one is mismatched. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust these off and roll on some new rubber for the front here. Jack this up, take some measurements from the face of this hub to this wheel, and then we got to bring in the other one, which has two options for offset on that wheel, and I think we're going to have to put it on the closest to the outside lip to put the wheel more in to leave room for the dual. I'm really hoping I nail it the first time because these tires aren't exactly light nor easy to move. So I'm actually trying to use tape measures and protractors, and I might have to get a compass or something, but there needs to be precision. Gap in between the duals. Okay, I'll push, you lift. Okay. A little more rotation. There you go. And now, let's let the jack do the work. How are we looking? Good. This pipe ain't gonna cut it. Aha! That. Hey, so we're actually gonna tackle the interior on this because as you can see, it is absolutely thrashed. There's no telling if this is 11,000 hours or 21,000 hours, but it's had all of it. All of the seals are shot, they're broken, they're shattered. There's a bunch of foam that should go on the sides here. There's sound deadening and insulation that should be in the ceiling. There's a lot that's missing or just worn or in terrible shape. So I'm gonna spend pretty much all day putting in new weather seals, door seals. I've talked to even the camera guys in the helping figure out the puzzle. We've got like 50 pieces laid out on the ground right now. We got to figure out where everything goes in here. But this interior, when we're done, is going to be, I'm going to say it, show quality. So this is the old command center. It's an old 6361-1A. This is a newer one. This is a DC-1A. They're similar-ish. I'm going to plug it in and hope that it works. I don't know if we have to change any wiring, but essentially it'll show you mile per hour, your engine RPM, and then your PTO speed, whether you choose 540, 1000. And then you can set your exhaust gas temperature alarm, and it'll also give you a coolant warning. So this just slides in the dash over here. It has a big pin connector. I'm going to hook this one up, turn the key on, and hopefully this lights up. I've already verified that we have power on this ribbon connector. So I don't know, we'll just cross our fingers here. Since the guy's going this far with the rig, I figured we might as well make all of the lights work. Yeah, that's right. I voluntarily started working on wiring, and that brought me up to the front here and put in this nice new upper grille assembly, but then quickly realized the bottom grille now doesn't match. A little bit of a rattle can rebuild brought that right back around. I'm an international harvester! Tint Master 9000 did quick work of the 5% tint, so I went ahead and talked him into putting on stickers. It looks great. Once again, I talked the crew into helping. There's so many pieces in here. They just jumped in and started stuffing foam and all the crevasses in here. But wait until you see this interior done. It's not only going to look great, but it's actually going to seal the cab up really good and give us some sound deadening as well. What a transformation this cab has gone through. It looks incredible. It's going to be quieter. It looks great. And it's going to be much more sealed. This thing is far from perfect, but it still is one of the nicer 1086s I've ever seen and one of the nicer I've ever operated. It is pretty slick. Just rough enough around the edges where you're not afraid to use the thing. Get in the field, get it dirty, use the thing. Run her wide open to the windshield, but what, 20 feet away. Used to be proud of it too. I wish my grandpa could see this thing. He operated his entire farm and ranch on 1086s for the most part. And we never understood why. They're not really the most comfortable. They're not the most easy shifting, but man, they have just an absolute aggressive classic look. And they're tough. The 414s are an incredible engine. Well, I hope he's smiling down. That's pretty neat, Deke. That's pretty neat. Now we're going to hook onto a baler, go drag that thing around and see how this does compared to that John Deere. Faster than that. It is high too. There we go. stable with the duals on. You don't get the side to side either with the tractor, which is nice. And it rides really good. The seat still works, which is incredible. There we go. Bring her down. Yeah, see, this isn't even wheezing. Even empty in that John Deere, which is about 75, 80 horse, you'd have to downshift or run her wide out to try to keep 540 PTO. This doesn't even know we're pulling anything. Yeah, sorry, we don't have any actual hay to pick up. I had to scramble and get everything done before about a week of rain hit us. We've been fighting that all week. So I've got everything done. We had a really quick first cut this year. It's actually nice for me. Do a fast turn. Side hill again. Nice and stable. We've got a lot left. The 1086, in my opinion, is one of the most iconic tractors ever. Just look at this thing. It looks absolutely incredible, and I think this proves the point. You can have a powerful, comfortable, cool-looking tractor, and you don't have to break the bank and have a huge mortgage to get something new. This thing's going to do it all. Now, we did have to do a lot of elbow grease. We put new paint on this, albeit just cheap Krylon implement paint with a little bit of Vice Grip Garage Clear. The decal kit, 5% tint of the windows, chrome stack. We put some filters in it, but the engine ran so good. We drove this over 50 miles on the road back here to Vice Grip Garage. One of the big things we did was new rubber. We fought new duals on this thing, inner and outer, and that interior kit, that Western kit, looks absolutely incredible. New seat, new dash decals. We pretty much did everything we could on the inside of this, and now it's comfortable, pulls the baler just perfectly fine. So this ended up being a really nice tractor for not a lot of money, but it's not nice enough a guy can actually use the thing, and that's exactly what I intend on doing. We're going to put this thing to work. That's going to do it for this episode of Roadworthy Rescues, but stay tuned. There's plenty more to say. Roadworthy Rescues, I put a Thunderbird back on the road after 30 years and make it look killer, and then that immediately happens to me. That's fine. Last time on Roadworthy Rescues, you saw a guy trying to pull this T-Bird from Texas to Tennessee with this old Travelall. The guy found this really cool 1968 Ford T-Bird way down in Texas, but it was physically stuck in this garage. The wheels were locked up. It was covered in dew. It was terrible. So we decided to get this old Travelall, which also hadn't run in almost 30 years. It's running! Yes! Sounds terrible! Perfect! For this rig to go down the road, let alone tow something, I had to do some upgrades. Threw on a 4-barrel intake, 4-barrel carb, put in a water pump, fixed the ignition, and a few other doodads. Don't worry about that. The only thing this is going to pull is ex-wives. Oh, great. Got it fired up and literally drug the T-Bird out of the garage. We might have hit a couple things, but mostly unscathed. Now, I'm trying to pull this T-Bird 800 miles from Texas all the way back to Tennessee. So far, she's pulling great. Got no temp gauge, got no oil pressure, got no fuel gauge. Actually, I do have a fuel gauge. It's called Look. We're about half the tank. It was going really good until, well, it wasn't. Oh, something is terribly amiss. Yeah, let's pull off here. I got a lot of smoke in the cab. Now there's power steering and motor oil and transmission oil everywhere. Hey, good morning. Truck's doing great. Well, I said last night it was doing great. What I failed to mention was it's exploding oil out of every single thing that holds oil. Power steering line burst, sprayed it all over the manifold. Transmission pan is leaking. The oil has ejected everywhere, so I'm trying to dial that up this morning, figure that out. Gonna hook up the crankcase ventilation system, hopefully reduce the pressure in the block, and maybe eliminate some of that wanting to come out the top end. Oil-soaked air filter, that's okay. We used to do that back in the old days. Got to air up a tire on the Turd Bird, and we're going to hit the road. Had a rainy, gloomy day, but that's okay. We're going to get some nice sights in and just cruise. Have a good day at 55, 60. Call it 700 miles to go from Texas to Vice Grip Garage in Tennessee. Well, day 2 on the road so far is going very well. We're getting about 5.4 miles to the gallon. Nice. It handles great. The old Internationals, what a tow rig. But this has been a good trip so far. I hope it remains to be uneventful, i.e. the transmission stays in the truck. That'd be great. You gotta turn left when you brake. You gotta keep your head on the swivel. Sandals! You're speeding, sir! I gotta fix this mirror. That took me aback. The jam on the brakes, I built enough pressure where it must have blew a rear brake line. The rear pod is completely empty. But we've been traveling in rain all day, so everything is dripping and weeping right now. So that means we have to try to do brake line surgery right here, I guess. The good news is I didn't miss church this week. That's pretty cool. Midas eat your heart out. We got church brakes. Okay, front drums, shoes adjusted. They're theoretically automatic, but I can't back up and let them auto-adjust the late. So I spooned them out with the flathead screwdriver, so where they're slightly dragging. Now we'll have good front brakes again. Turns out we don't have a pop line in the back. We might have a weeping wheel cylinder, so I'm just going to bleed the master cylinder, plug the line back in, and top it off every time we get fuel. Okay, let's go. morning. Last night was an adventure. What a drive. Between poor visibility, my poor eyesight, no power steering, and flooded roads, you know, the Honda Maximuses were burning. But we made it in. However, this morning I did decide to go ahead and replace this wheel cylinder. Apparently after they sit for 30 years, if you double stomp it with size 13s, they just blow it out, you know. She's not looking so hot. It'd be nice to have something with brakes, so we're gonna fix this up quick. Rebuilding, brand new, all that brake fluid. And then I can't remember how many miles left, 300 something, and then we'll finally make it back to Tennessee. Hopefully nothing else happens. If it ain't red, leave it in the shed. International. We're getting like 5 miles to the gallon and we got a headwind today, so it's gonna be less, but we're headed to the Natchez Trace Trail. We got a few stops planned along the way. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing else happens bad. I took a right turn to check the oil and ended up on a section line betwixt some row crops here. I did have the turd bird clean, but now it's probably full of mud. On the road again, about to go to Natchez Trace again. You know, when it comes to these old vehicles and reviving them, other than the history and story of the vehicle itself, my favorite thing is the journey home. And in this case, we're just now turning on the Natchez Trace, which boasts thousands of years of history. It's a 444-mile scenic drive that extends through 3 states, and American Indians have traveled on it. European settlers, traders, trappers, soldiers, presidents, you name it. And this highway closely follows the original path. I've never been on it. I heard it's breathtaking. It's got plenty of turns and ups and downs and vegetation and trees and you name it. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Might as well enjoy the trip. Oh, I like the speed limit too, 50. Right up our alley. Nacho Trail. I hope it has cheese and jalapeno. Some hamburger wouldn't hurt. And maybe some olives and onion. Oh, we made it. Bicycle Garage, South Central Tennessee, 800 miles. We found this international travel out in a backyard, sitting for almost 30 years. Got it fired up and hit the road. And not only did it drive 800 miles, it towed 800 miles. That Ford big block turd bird back there. Speaking of which, you're going to see that next. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, it was a very late night driving through the pouring rain. Well, pretty much rained the whole journey, but we actually made it here. And that in itself, in my opinion, is a massive win. We found the 68 Thunderbird sitting in a garage for almost 30 years, but it was just too disgusting to work on in that case. Now you can finally see in light how nasty this car is. It is terrible. I've been doing this for a couple decades now, and this one is up there. Oh, the wind is really kicking it up. So I think I'm just going to throw a mask on, get some gloves on, roll the floor mats up, and then I'm going to vacuum this outside and try to get that to just blow into the cattle up there. Sorry about that. Note to self, don't eat hamburger this year. Okay, so let's get the vacuum and just get to work here. Definitely want to be upwind. Basically the same rules for farts. Such a disturbing sound. That's how wet the carpet is.
Hazard pay. This is how I die. This is exactly how I die. Oh, this was a terrible purchase. Completely full. Oh my gosh. I've heard that sound. Got a carcass. Oh, there went another one. We got 2 mice.
I have never. This is worse than the Mustang, I think. How's your day going? Mine's a little duty. Sorry about that one. Anyway, now that we can stand next to this without carrying around an IV bag, let's fire up the pressure washer and see what the outside looks like. We're gonna soak this whole thing down with your standard dish soap, let it sit for a minute, pressure wash it again, and then I might actually have to touch it with a rag or something. Ugh. That's wild. You see all the grease on it, it's just shedding right off like a wax job. There's a potato chip company I'm gonna leave unnamed that made potato chips. And through the broken window that the raccoons came through, all that fryer grease kind of congealed and mixed with the urine and poo and made this layer here. But the hope is we want to uncover what is supposed to be a brand new paint job under this. Huh. Doesn't look like I did anything the last hour. Status report, it's now high noon, and the car looks exactly the same. Chemicals galore, tried scrubbing it, pressure washing it. Whatever the potato chip raccoon combination is, it's stuck to this paint. How about this? Let's get it in the shed, and let's just see if this thing runs, right? It like moves stuff before we put 97 hours of labor into the paint. Although it would go on Craigslist well that way. Lots of receipts, could run. So I've already plugged off a vacuum leak. We borrowed permanently the vacuum check valve for the brake booster for the travel wall, which got us here. Looks like we got completed. We got lightning whirler in it. All the hoses are on. So we're just going to hit it with a hot battery. Luckily enough, Ford and Mopar have what's called a steel me junction. Essentially, we don't need a key to even fire this thing up. And since the key is on the dash on this, it doesn't even lock the steering wheel. So if a guy can get a hood open, boom, free T-bird. All I'm going to do here is jump power to the coil, and then I'm going to jump power from the battery to my start solenoid over here, and we'll be able to crank this thing over. That's pretty good, and then just a little splash. That was way too much. Bring in the thunders. Yeah. She's a runner. Valve train isn't clanking. Means it's probably making oil pressure. Water pump isn't froze up, none of that stuff. It's like it was shut off yesterday. Minus the missing and shaking and smoking and barely running. I was hoping that would be a lot harder because now I have to do something with the paint, don't I? Victorious! So here's the plan. I don't really have one, other than this has to get into the shop. We're west of Rusty Acres up here on Motor Mountain. We gotta aim for Valve Cover Valley. We don't know if it moves because we don't have a drive shaft and I'm not hitting the brake pedal. So, surfing in the USA! Oh boy, oh boy. Ain't nothing zip ties and vice grips can't fix. We're going to lift this up with the forks, and then I'm going to side shift it over onto the lift because we're about to fall off. I hooked my peepers onto the car. The trunk floor is absolutely gone, so we're not damaging anything, so just relax, okay? Ouch, my head. So I got my buddy here, Kevin Tates from Paint Education. He's been around collision, hot rods, custom builds, you name it, stuff like this. I'm hoping if anybody knows what to do, it's you with this vehicle. So here's the deal with this car. We found it in this old cinder block garage. Urine, fryer grease, 30 years of dirt and dust. We tried to power wash it and clean it and scrub it. We were told by this old man, I painted it fresh, parked it in the garage, and that was it. So I want to know, is it a fresh paint job? Is it the original color? And then see if we can bring it back, because I don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction and just say, well, let's just paint it again, or let's just clear it, or let's just leave it.
Well, the last thing you want to do is start throwing harsh stuff at it. What I always do is just do an inspection. If it's a good paint job, they're taking trim off, and they're going to put the trim back on after the paint. If it's a quick and dirty, they're taping stuff up, and they're working around it. So right here, you see this antenna bezel?
Yep.
You see the paint buildup there?
Oh, yeah.
Bam. There you go. Strike one. Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, strike two. And in the door jambs, the seals are painted too.
Oh, everything.
Everything, the VIN numbers, all that type of stuff. So we know that maybe this was a drug running mule or something like that. And somebody ran it through a barn just like a Smokey and the Bandit and shot it real quick. So it's probably not the best quality paint. It's an aftermarket paint job, and that's fine. So we know what we're working with. Because of the way this looks, even through the dirt, I can see it's fairly glossy. It's a single-stage paint job over top of the original paint. So you're kind of winning on that level. And it's, for the most part, in pretty okay shape. So if we can revive this paint, you can probably make it look really good, Derek.
That's what I was looking forward to hearing. Yes. All right, show me how to clean this.
All right, so we're going to go least aggressive first. That's always the best thing. That way we're not doing any damage unless we have to. So I've got a citrus cleaner. There's a lot of different companies that have that. And citrus cleaners, if you know, I mean, they're really super strong. All right, let's see what that did.
Oh, yeah, that's way more gooder.
Wow. I mean, look at the contrast already. That's 30 seconds with a good cleaner on it. That gets us home. So now let's see how thick that paint is.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be a combination of the original paint and whatever else they put on it. Holy smokes. Okay.
Is that a good holy smokes?
That's a lot. Okay, so for instance, your average new vehicle has got 6 to 10 mils.
We've got 40?
Total film. We've got 44.72 mils. There's a lot of paint on there. It may have more than one paint job on it. Or it's super thick, or they put 5 coats on. My guess, we'd probably safe to sand and polish if we have to.
Okay.
But before we clean it and sand it, all of it, let's see what we can do with the small spot. See if just polish will bring it up. This is my go-to for almost everything. It's aggressive, but it polishes out super smooth. It's kind of a one-step for me. So it's a water-based compound, which is really good. So I don't know about you.
Oh, wow.
But I can comb my hair in that. Within a few minutes, you've got a recipe to wake this thing up.
If the whole car looks like this, that's pretty good. Well, thanks, man. I knew you'd be the guy to call. It sounds like we could make this thing shine, but I think first step is we should probably make it run and drive. We'll deal with this a little bit later. But, man, thank you so much.
No problem, man.
This has been great.
This is fun. I want to ride in this thing.
Did you smell it yet?
No.
Don't do it. Well, now that we know that it could potentially look really sharp and that this runs somewhat okay-ish, I think we go ahead and spend the time, dig into this engine and make it run a lot better. Now, we think this is a 460, fairly certain, based on the identification plate on the valve cover, and it's obviously a big block, but 460s didn't come in this year T-Bird. So it's been swapped in from most likely a mid to late 70s truck motor, which would put out a whopping 200-some horse, let's be honest. However, they are fairly torquey motors. Nothing beats a big block in that aspect. But this stock style intake and this Motorcraft fuel make it happener, That's got to go. Here's an idea. What if we put a new performance dual plane intake on this and put a Holley Sniper on this thing and let it tune itself? And we'll get maximum horsepower, fuel economy, ease of starts, all of that. And then we'll obviously do an ignition tune-up. We'll put an HEI in it, dump the coil and points, put an exhaust system on this. We should have a tire-frying Ford big block. Or at least that's the idea. I'm going to start by taking the hood off, and then we've just got to thrash and get all of the garbly, gook, whatnots, and accoutrements off of this engine. Oh, I don't think that was right. I mean, so far, I'm enjoying this, gotta be honest. That's better. Oh my goodness. Corpus Christi. I'm gonna have to try to pluck all that out. This is oil from the 60s and 70s. It's a very high mile motor that has not been taken care of. So, we're gonna try to take care of it. We're trying to get all the huge, giant chunks of stuff out of here because the lifter cups are just full of this junk. And I don't want to have one of these lifters go flat or something like that. These push rods and the lifters need to spin in these bores, and they ride on the cam lobe. This cam lobe here is a good example, only part of it's shiny because it actually has a taper on it, which makes that lifter rotate with the push rod. If that gets full of this gum and varnish and buildup, it's not going to move. And it's just going to smoke one of these lifters or a cam lobe. So I'm trying to flush all of this back into the pan, but I want this to get as clean as possible before we cover it back up with a shiny new intake. So guys been working away at this, and now it's bone dry. It is just, because brake clean dissipates quickly and dries up. So I'm going to use some of this valve train assembly spray, and this is typically used when you assemble an engine, but it helps against initial dry starts, which we're going to have here until it builds oil pressure again. There. Now intake time. What are you doing? Pretty good, Pat. That's why I keep them around. So here we've got a dual plane intake. This one's by Wyan. We'll be able to get our Holley Sniper up on this here. And it's still got the provision for the standard or factory throttle cable, so that's pretty nice. It's just got 74 different pipe plugs we got to plug up, but we'll do that down the road. So here we have a points distributor. So inside of here you can see the contacts or points, and as it rotates, it opens and closes. This is cool, it's great, it works, but we're going to be upgrading it to a GM style HEI or high energy ignition. And basically this has the coil built in, everything is right here. All we need to do is just hit it with 12 volts and bam, upgraded. So we should have a better, more consistent, more reliable spark, and then we'll figure out timing later. Went ahead and put some new valve covers on, just decided to plop these on, they were cheap enough. Got our new intake on, and then our Sniper, which is basically fuel injection, right? So we're going to be able to maximize our horsepower, fuel economy, easy starts, and all of that stuff. This is a new Sniper 2. They actually moved the ECU in these. Instead of having it up front right next to the HEI, they've switched it around over here. I've been told it's taken care of the RFI issues sometimes that you would get with that. So now I just got to dig through this manual here, start figuring out, well, digicals. I don't like them. I'm going to have to figure it out, though. Fade to black commercials. So our T-Bird's got what we assume is a late 70s smogged out 460. They don't make a ton of horsepower. They do make some torque. So we're trying to snooze this thing up a little bit, hopefully turn it into a tire fryer. Guys had a really productive day. I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at with the rig. Fairly close to trying to fire this thing back up on EFI. Linkage is done. Vacuum lines are done. Vacuum line to the boosters in. Our ignition system is complete. We got lightning hoses, spark lighters in. We've got the lines run to the sniper as well. We've also got the new fuel tank, fuel straps, new fuel sending unit, fuel pump and fuel filter in the rear. Now I just need to run the lines up to the front of the car and plug her into the unit. Woo! That's hotter than Shania Twain in the 90s. How do I live without you? Just tell me. I want to know. So a guy's wiring up the Holly sniper up front here, and I'm to the point I need to find a 12-volt switched source. And to do that, you need a key. Found the key. Mark this one off the list. I don't like the fact that my head's so far into this car. Oh, by the way, had the seats sent off to get reupholstered because they were that terrible. They should be back soon. And that's good. You want new seats when your T-Bird doesn't run. Wait, is this the first roadworthy car with a key? That's pretty good. It's only season 3. It works. We have an ignition stick, and never mind. We had a spare. We have one key. It's pretty good. Come here, cat. I will not feed you if you do not come here. Fine.
Well, little June bug.
Time for exhaust. I've got my friend Chad here from Volunteer Muffler out of Cookeville, Tennessee. And we want to do true duals. This had some really neck-down exhaust with some old muffler, chambered kind of mufflers on it. We want it to be a little bit more loud, kind of a nice grumble tone at idle, but, you know, we feed the onions to her. We want it to be loud.
That's right.
And then I got some Black Widow, I think they're called neighbor haters. So we tried them on that Trans Am. They sounded pretty good.
They did. They sound really good on
So
that car.
this is also low compression, high cube, so we should have a similar tone to that. It is going to completely transform the look of this car. While he's doing that, I'm putting the drive shaft back in so Chad can fit the exhaust. He's going to swoop down and then snug it in towards the drive pole, and then he'll come back out. But he needs us in here to check his clearances and stuff like that.
Eric, can I borrow that 4-footer?
Oh, hey, Schmidt. Yeah, there.
Thanks. What are you doing?
Oh, fuel pump.
Nice.
Yeah. Good seeing you.
You too. I'll be on the other side of the partition.
All my screwdrivers are gone. Every tool's missing. Got no lights. Someone drank my Christmas coffee. Well, it was a busy day at the YouTube headquarters of Ice Cream Garage. We got this build going on here. You got Chad back there banging on the muffler machine. You got my friends over here in the other bay working on a pickup. You got Roadkill, Freiburg, and Spell working on a turbo Firebird Trans Am thing. There's a lot happening. You want to try it again and see if I got to do it one more time? Yep. We're going to lose the shop if we don't get this done. Somehow, some way, the Chad, the muffler man himself, has tweaked in some 2.5 exhaust pipes up and over, and we're just setting up the tip right now. You gotta have tips and jips, you know what I mean? Now instead of 1.5 water line hanging out the back, got real exhaust. That looks good, Chad. Great work.
Thank you, sir.
So Chappelle and Freiberger have successfully installed a transmission. They're gonna see if it's gonna shift. This is one of those face finds. Rebuilt lots of receipts, you know.
Well, now that we broadcasted it, I think we're ready to like bump it up and get out of here.
Thanks for having us.
Anytime. See you guys. Drive safe. No problem. Oh, it's got brake lights. Wow. Jeez. And I said one cookie. Don't leave a trail. I've never even tore it up this bad. This is pretty entertaining. That's about 15 bales down there. The inspection cover slamming on the torque converter sounds awesome. Well, you know, it won't overheat. That's good. So Chad's all finished with the exhaust. That looks fantastic. I can't wait to hear that. I'm going to move on to this Holly and finishing it up so we can fire this thing out. Normally, we'd be doing the EFI handheld, which is a little 3.5-inch screen where you can enter a tune and monitor the system and all the vitals of the engine. But they have something new out. It's like a Bluetooth puck thing. I don't know. Apparently, you can run from your digital pocket computer device. So I'm going to throw that somewhere in the car, and we're going to tune this thing with our phone, and then we're going to be able to go through the paces, create a bass tune, and then it should fire. There's the fuel pump. Let it build a little pressure. Oh, Lord have mercy. Take this up. Take a peek. Yep. This is what happens when you're working on 3 vehicles at once. This is because of roadkill right here. All right? Paying attention to detail. Forgot where I was. And they owe me like 14 hay bales. I'm writing HR. See if it fires. Oh, look at that! Wow! It's already idling down. Look at that. Well, I was going to say adjust the timing, but then again, I put it in, so it's, you know. It's dialed. Oh! Just like that. Went from running like not good to yes. And it's very loud. Very, very loud. We might get a burnout out of this. She's charging. She's right at 13.5 air fuel. TPS or the IAX at 1, which is perfect. That means our throttle position sensor and how we have the idle set is right where the computer wants to see it, and it is currently learning. So the more it sits, the more it learns. The more you drive, the more it learns. It just gets smarter and smarter. Just like the mufflers suggest. My neighbors probably hate me now. I think that's going to do it for tonight. It runs, it's alive, but tomorrow we've got like brakes, and then we should probably check if it like shifts into gear and is going to move and stuff. And then lastly, that stuff. Okay. Well, good morning. We're back on the Thunder Turd we found down in Texas. We pulled her back to Tennessee here, and we're going through this thing, trying to get it back on the road. Got it running late last night. Man, it sounds so good with the exhaust and the Holley Sniper on this thing. But we got one problem. There's absolutely no brake hardware. Well, at least on this side. This wheel was locked solid when we pulled it out of the garage with the travel wall. So I'm going to start going through the brakes. I at least need hardware here to see if the master cylinder is doing anything with the brake juice, and we'll go from there. Buckle up. This is another brake job. Woo! Oh, sesquicentennial. 200 years. That's not right. Is that 150 years? 8th grade, coming back. Now, it is time to tackle this. It's time to tackle this paint. I don't know what Kevin did. I scrubbed this roof until I almost caved it in, and then he just showed up and went, ooh, look, why am I here? That's great. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Citrus cleaner, rags, literal elbow grease, get all of this gross, yucky stuff off, and then start buffing. And while that's gonna happen, new windshield, because we can't see out of it, and it's also broken. As a reminder, this is a really potent mix of potato chip, fryer grease, raccoon and rat pee, and the very authentic 3-decade garage dust. So many people passed on this car this guy was selling. Super nice guy. But no one wanted this car because of how terrible it smelled and all of the feces and urine in the vehicle. And I just want to say for the record, they were smart. I was not. My arms are vibrating, but listen, paint is clean. The paint is polished, and we got the windshield in. So now it's finally time to do something with the interior. Finished. Okay. Look at this beautiful 68 Thunderbird. There are so many people, well, rightfully so, that would have passed and did pass on this T-Bird when I opened up that garage door. But I saw a ton of potential in this car. And as you can see, it is a qualified and certified go-on-to-town rig. We had to address the engine first off. It didn't run very good. We hopped it up with a 4-barrel intake, put a Holley Sniper 2 on it, addressed some of the belts and hoses and ignition and lightning hoses and sparkulators, new fuel system, fuel tank, sending unit lines, filters, and a digital pump to go along with that. We had to fix the brakes in the back. I got all new drums, shoes, hardware. We also put new soft lines in it. Speaking of stopping, we got these new 17s, and they look incredible. It really completes the look. It kind of John Wickish. Except I don't know how to, I just hurt my back actually on that one. Interior, boy, that was an absolute disaster, an unhealthy one. But look at it now, it's got new carpet, reupholstered front seats, looks great, and that's all it literally took. New windshield, and of course the paint. The guy was not barking up a tree. This is brand new paint that is now 30 years old, terribly done, but man, after cutting it and buffing it, it absolutely shines and looks brilliant. And of course, the whole journey started by using that travel all on the hill to yank this thing out of the garage. We literally drug it into the street and then towed it 800 miles back here to Tennessee so we could start digging in. Now my favorite part, let's go put this thing on the road, have some fun with it. Sun's going down. First impression? Yes. 30 years this car sat in that little garage. And it's just too bad it was parked. It's actually not that bad other than the leaking brake booster you hear right now. Seems to ride decent. Ready? Ah! We didn't roll into the ditch. It's pretty good. I don't have an oil pressure gauge, which is probably good, but everything else is doing fine so far. Horn works. What else do you need? So many people would have passed on this thing, and it's a shame. I'm glad we could get it back on the road. It's a sleek car. Fun to look at. so far really fun to drive. Not bad. Cows are heading for water already. Oh no! I did not make it far. Already hot. Oh boy. It's pretty sweet while it lasted. 3rd degree burns on my hand. Ouch. It's at least 290 degrees. So it's probably a bad water pump. Something similar. I am going to let it cool down and drive it just a little bit farther because it's fun driving. And it looks great. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Roadworthy Rescues, but stay tuned, there's plenty more to save. Oh, and this does prove you can polish a turd. This time at Roadworthy Rescues, we find an old Bonneville on a horse farm. This thing's been off the road for a couple decades. We're gonna bring it back. Well, it's easy. At least the wheels aren't locked up. If it works, is it a dumb idea? For classic cars this time has brought us to a horse farm in Carlton, Michigan. Oh boy. You want a cookie? I have found a classic that's been off the road for 15 to 20 years. This is Lola. She's really friendly. Not the car we're looking for. Nice to meet you. Let's go find something with more horsepower. Oh, look at the kitty. Hey, Candy. How dare you interrupt my nap? Was told us down here in the arena. Album cover. Well, here it is, a 1962 Pontiac Bonneville. It's a little rough around the edges, but listen, there's a lot of potential with this car. We were told it's been off the road at least 15 years. There was an engine and transmission swap started on it, and then it kind of just sputtered out, and eventually just got pulled into the horse arena here. These are pretty awesome cars. They were produced from 57 to 2005, but between us, we'll just pretend they stopped making them in the 70s. It's probably for the best. Now, this particular genre was created by Bill Mitchell, the legend himself, who also created Camaro, the Corvette Stingray, Tri-5 Chevys, a whole bunch of stuff, Cadillacs, all of that. And the protruding Pontiac front kind of started and really developed over the years. It just gave such an iconic look. This should have a 389 and hopefully not the Roto Hydromatic transmission. We're going to find out, I guess. Let's walk around this, drink it up, and see what it's actually going to take to put this car back on the road. Help me. It's going to need a lot. So a guy likes to start in the trunk just to kind of mentally prepare myself for how terrible this is going to be. Let's be honest. If there's engine parts and things like that back here, we can start piecing this thing together, which there is. Oh, wow. A couple things. Most importantly, what a beautiful blue color. jack instruction sticker is still there. Secondly, moist, humid, terribly bad. We've got a radiator, a whole bunch of blue vinyl material. I wonder if the old timer here was going to try to do a headliner or something. Potentially the original floor mattage, and then the glaring obvious thing, the old torque tube. Apparently you need these to rotate the rear axle. Whole bunch of hardware, springs, all of the lights are unplugged, a couple belts, so everything is fine, seems like. Well, let's jump inside of the Bonneville, which, yes, is actually named after the Bonneville South Flats, which is where a lot of racing and speed cars started. Yep. Oh. Smells like a salt lick covered in warm ravioli, wet hay, and regrets. It's actually making my eyes tingle a little bit, but look at this beautiful Pontiac interior. This was the luxury car only to be ousted by the Grand Prix, or Prix, which came out in '62. All the interior options, the carpeted bottom doors, they had some walnut veneer in some of these. Just really, really nice interior. This, they were proud of, the Bonneville banner up here. And the old Teeth Chopper 6000. Right there. We got 42% of a headliner, 26% of a back seat, 0% of a package tray, about 75% of a windshield. That seems fine. Pretty cool air unit or air handler down here. 7,000 miles, it says. So is it 107 or 1,000,007? I'm not sure. The steering wheel looks barely used. We got more U-joints, more wires, levers. That's a shift lever. What did I get myself into? So this does nothing. Yep. That's gonna be fun. No. So I think it is safe to say this thing doesn't run. Let's go ahead and confirm it by opening the hood and then quickly closing it again and forgetting we didn't see that. All right, here we go. Oh, boy. Confirmed. We do not have completage. Everything's missing. Fan, belts, pulleys, radiator, cooling lines, radiator hoses. Ooh, fuel making happeners on there. It does have a lightning whirler, and a bunch of the lightning hoses are unplugged. Single pot of death over here on the brakes, and we'll soon snap that out and ruin all the brake lines and spend 3 days putting brake lines in. But anyway, this engine was swapped in here out of a 61. And I believe, and I could be wrong, those had the roto hydromatic transmission. And they don't roto very much. And then they later on went to the super, which is a more modern kind of transmission. So I think here's where we're going to start. There's obviously a tremendous amount of work to even get this thing rolling down the road. We should probably just hear it run first and verify this engine is in fact good. Then we should maybe find somewhere else to work on this other than the horse arena. Not that I don't like horse arenas, it's beautiful. But it's a little dirty, I'm gonna be honest. And we're gonna have to get under this thing, and there's a tremendous amount of work to do. Let me get some tools, see if we can get this fired up. Oh, I hope this Black Widow just keeps walking. Go around, I'm busy. All the wiring is cut. We've got 2 starter relays, both hacked up. We've got a different starter in here than what would have been originally. And the ignition is completely missing in the car. So not only is there no key, there's no tumbler or housing. So I have commenced the gone in 60-second mechanicals. We're gonna just try to hotwire this thing. Just to see if the motor turns over. And then maybe we can juice it up enough to hear this thing bark off and make a couple sounds. And then we're really in it. I didn't realize initially, but wiring, yes, cooling, fuel, brakes, driveline, probably transmission, glass, cleaning, tires and wheels. This is a big project. I ain't kidding you. I'm being honest. Barn Find Barnaville is quickly evolving into a much bigger project than anticipated. We knew we were going to be under the hood doing some wrenching, being a barn find and all, but there's literally nothing connected mechanically, physically, or electronically with this car. But Beth's here to shed some light on why it is the way that it is.
So my dad brought the car to the farm here at least 14 years ago. My dad's favorite was 61, 62 Pontiacs. He loved the drag racing era when they were building them better and bigger for drag racing. He had a 61 Bonneville that he took the engine and transmission out of, put it in this car, and it was a project that just got put on the back burner for many years.
So what we're going to do here is, oh wow, that's blacker than my soul and low. Good enough for now. I'm going to throw a wrench on the crank here and just try to turn it over by hand and just try to make sure this thing goes 360 degrees. It's not locked up. We don't have valve train issues, anything like that. Yep, it's rotating. Good compression. It sounds like it's open manifold, actually. Yep, there's absolutely zero exhaust on the engine. It's just manifolds. It's fine. It's hot rodding. Need a landing cue. Okay, let's see if it rotates. It does. It seems only right that I mentioned it has a gallop, being we're in a horse arena. One or two or all of the cylinders are different than another one. So it has this gallop sound to it because it's building different compression per cylinder. Now that doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad motor. It could just be sticky rings, things like that. They gotta be ran to be brought around, you know what I mean? Feel like John Wayne's gonna appear any second. Okay, now we gotta start on sparkles. We're gonna need to get some power to our coil, being that every single wire in this entire car is either cut, snipped, or wired wrong. And no spark. This is my surprise face. I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably the points at this juncture. Replace those first. See the lightning? We got lightning. The storm is back. So I pulled the number one sparkulator out, and this is a really old, what is now AC Delco, but it's just AC. So we know that this engine has not had fresh sparkulators since 1974 or earlier. That's when the name changed, roughly around then. So that's pretty wild. It's been untouched that long. Could go ahead and use the old ACs. They're probably better than what we can get today, to be honest. Now I'm going to stick my finger in the sparkulator hole, roll this over, and feel the compression, and that's when I know it's going to be at top dead center on number one, and then we can set the firing order right there. We're to the point we have spark. Now we just got to add some fuel, and we should be able to hear this thing make some racket. I just want to make sure it's not knocking or banging or the insides aren't trying to go outside before we spend more time and energy on this thing. Bring in the thunders. All right. It's alive. It's a runner. It's making noise. Sounds like a boat. Great. Okay, so there is a tremendous amount of work to do. Shift linkage, throttle linkage, drive shaft, exhaust, brakes, cooling system. It's a lot. So we should probably get this at a facility where I can really throw the wrenches at this thing. We got a shop just down the road we're gonna head to. Actually, it's MotorTrend shop, and I think they got a couple tools in there, maybe even a lift, which honestly we're gonna need to pull this off in just a few days. Let's get this thing moved and get thrashing. Okay, so I've intentionally jackknifed the van in here with the dolly. Let's see if this works. It's gonna be an awkward insurance claim if it doesn't. If it works, is it a dumb idea? Go put the chain back. It goes underneath the Christmas tree stand next to the feeder. So we've arrived. Somehow these old dry rotted tires have made the hour drive to the MotorTrend Detroit office. We got the Bonneville up on the lift here, and I've just been looking through things, trying to make a quick mental list on how to get this thing on the street, and I've got to tell you, the spoon is full. The spoon has runneth over. We have got a plate full here, but it's not a bad thing. I'm actually pretty excited about this. You know, we called this show Roadworthy Rescues, trying to get these things back on the road and enjoy them. But a lot of times what you don't see is the nitty gritty, the engine swaps and the fabrication and, you know, the true hot rodding, using what you have and just making it work. And this is an example of it. And I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to redo it. So what we got here, this is not a roto. This is a later model hydromatic transmission. It's on some sort of cobbled homemade transmission cross member, which is not going to work. All this stuff needs to go away. The drive shaft is out of this because it's not going to work. It's not the right spline count. It's not the right length. We're going to need a drive shaft. That's another issue. Coming up here on the engine, one of the bigger issues is the guy, what I figure, Don is his name, is he's just an old school car guy. He was retrofitting this in, and I think where this project stopped was he did the engine transmission swap. He test fitted it and went, great. It's going to work. I'll come back another day, and just never got to it. And there's a lot of telltale signs, like the transmission not being bolted in. And the big one is he literally cut the cross member out of the 61 and laid that cross member over this cross member to just drop the engine in. So we have double stacked cross members. The engine's not even held in any way, shape, or form. He's just test fitting, scabbing things in. So for us to find motor mounts for this engine, a transmission mount or something like that for this transmission is pretty slim, especially in 3 or 4 days. I'm kind of thinking all of this just needs to come out and try to cobble something else together that's going to kind of stay in the car. So I'm going to make a list here. It's going to be pretty extensive, and we're going to have to legitimately just scramble and try to throw this together. It's by the seat of our pants. This is real life. So we're going to need a transmission cross member. We're going to need headers. We're going to need a mini starter. We're going to need exhaust. We're going to need a drive shaft. And I'm just going to stop there because you know where it's going to be. Ignition, cooling, hoses, electrical wiring, fuel pump. Fuel make it happen, or I don't know if the tank works. I haven't even looked at that. Fuel sending unit, fuel lines, beep boops, whatnots, and doodads. I've got to go shopping. I need a cherry picker. I got to figure out a welder, chop saw, grinder, discs, tools, things, stuff like that. And fade black, commercial. So yesterday we pulled this 62 Bonneville out of a horse barn, and once we got it on the lift here in Detroit at MotorTrend Studios, it became apparent that someone was in the middle of a project here and just kind of has things locked in. There's a tremendous amount of work to do. And we're going to start, oddly, by taking it all back out. Undoing everything I did. This is going to go really well because I'm going to have complete disregard for anything hooked to this engine, which I don't think there is. but here we go. Hey. So this is what a guy was after, and this is actually part of a cross member of a 61 Bonneville that the guy just cut out, left attached to the engine, and just sat this in the current car. Well, that posed a lot of issues, obviously, because it's not actually attached to anything. So what I have to do is somehow get this bracketry off of this piece, align it perfectly in this car, weld it all in, and then ensure that this actually bolts into this car. It's going to be really good. Let's get started. So I've got it cleaned up a little bit here. We're already starting to see those witness marks I was hoping to find of the original motor mounts that were in here. And they look pretty identical. They should be. This should have had a 389 in it from the factory. So I don't know if the old timer was maybe planning on repowering it with a Chevrolet or a Ford or who knows, and decided to hack these off and changed his mind, potentially. Nonetheless, I have kind of an idea of where these should go. So now the task is trying to get this off of here as much as I can complete, and then test fit them slightly, grind them up, bend them, mount them on the engine, drop the engine back in, get it lined up correctly, and tack that in, pull the motor out again, finish welding it, cut, weld, repeat. Okay, now, gotta get these ready to go back into the car. So I've got the mounts here, and basically just ground them up to where I can get back to thick metal of the original mount and not the old welds and things of that nature. So when we do go to weld, we have some good thick metal there. And I'm thinking we just plop them in like this. That should get us done, but I've got a lot of cleanup to do in here. Get all this smoothed out. I may even weld some of these holes closed. He got a little deep on the old, death wheel there. Once we get it all cleaned up, I'll bolt these to the engine. Now I can set this back down in the cleaned and prepped cross member, try to line everything up where it should theoretically go, tack weld them in, and then we'll get the engine out again, weld it all up. It's slow going, but we're making progress. What do you think, Freiberg? That's as high as I can get it. Hey, that looks like that's where they're supposed to go. Whoa, what? That's normal. No. Come on, little guy. Okay, we've got these motor mounts tacked in. Now, I've just somehow got to convince this 120 volt welder to weld, and then we'll be able to put the engine back in again. Rebuilding. Hours and hours of fab work, rebuilding. Well, since this is out, the guys decided to go ahead and rebuild it. It's the best opportunity. And by rebuild, I just mean hit it with high pressure water. If I'm really optimistic, maybe some Rust-Oleum rings, Krylon camshaft, Haven't really decided yet. Sorry, MotorTrend executive people. Derek needed to wash his Pontiac. Ruined our beautiful parking lot. That's pretty cool. Well, the day's coming to an end. A lot of futzing around today, but we did get some good progress done. We've got motor mounts in here for our 389, which is now hanging on the hook, painted, freshly rebuilt. And I know for you Pontiac purists, it's not the correct color. It's very hard to find that color. I like this titanium silver blue or whatever it is. Looks pretty sharp. Now, to be honest, we had to scour the internet. We think we have some of the correct parts ordered. We've got a used transmission we're going to pick up. We've got an adapter plate. We've got some sort of miscellaneous universal transmission cross members I can maybe make. The truth of the matter is, this is just real life. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting into. You just got to figure it out as you go. And we're going to try to do that tomorrow. Hopefully we get engine, transmission back in the car and closer to firing this thing up and hopefully it moving under its own power. See you in the morning. Sounds like we got a storm coming in. Well, we're still short a few critical pieces, but parts are starting to show up, and one big one just did. A turbo 350 transmission that was rebuilt off the interwebs. Hopefully that works. Glass guy's here. He's going to throw a windshield in, which is no easy task, but we're going to have that. So I'm turning my attention back to the engine here. I'm going to change the oil, put sparkletors in, try to pep it up a little bit, and eventually we'll top that off with the performance carburetor as well. We've only got 2 days left trying to keep busy and get this thing back on the road. It's going to be tight. Ooh. Not a maintenance engine, unfortunately. Shouldn't be able to scrape stuff off your push rods, so we'll pretend we didn't look at that. Tasty. So we're wanting to change the transmission on the Barneville, and this kit here is going to help me do that. Now, we're pretty certain that the super hydromatic that came with the car is just going to be no good. Plus, we're missing a tremendous amount of linkages, doodads, and whatnots to even try to see if that worked. So I wanted to use a BOPC transmission, but then quickly realized this particular year block doesn't have a starter pad for the starter to mount to the engine block. It actually mounts to the transmission. So that was another reason to get this adapter kit here. Now this kit basically bolts onto the back of the engine, and then the transmission bolts to this piece here. So I'm going to pull this adapter plate off, start fitting all of this to the engine over here. We've got a crank adapter. You've got this collar that's going to kick it out. This is the same thickness, of course, so we can put a standard GM flex plate on here, and then we can bolt up a turbo 350 transmission of 400 to 700 R4. Sky's the limit. Kit even came with a little mini starter, which is pretty cool. That'll help with our header clearance when we get into exhaust. And that is how you put a $1,500 kit on a $200 motor. So this is like a no-name torque converter. I chose an 1800 to 2000 stall. just to give the old 389 a little more pep feeling, having just a tiny bit looser torque converter. So now we should be ready to slide this TH350 up against our conversion bracket, and bam, we have them mated. Torque converter should slightly turn still. Yes, sir. Then we'll measure that pull forward here in a minute. Has to be precise. Well, by golly, that might be it. Somehow it looks worse now that it's outside again. Might also go ahead and clean up the engine bay here before we drop in that cleaned up little Pontiac. And maybe I'll spray the wand down the side of this car too to get all this barn dust off. Should have put all this barn dust in a bucket. Put it online. Turbo 350, getting ready to go into the car. So I've got Skylar helping me here. He's the muscle around this team, you know what I mean? So he's going to push this bad boy in. I'm going to kind of try to nestle it in and direct it and run the pump. Okay, in about 2 inches. He's going to do the push and pull and lift and grunting. In again. Uh-oh. Oh, my firewall paint. There goes 40 cents. What in the devil? Okay, forward. In. Okay. Oh, oof. Okay, my bad. Okay, now we gotta figure out how to get that transmission tail shaft off. Oh god. See under there? Right, go for it. Skylar's now spelunking. I'm just, yep, keep going. Trying to keep this distributor alive. Okay, now you go up. Seems like we're bending things, right? Yeah. I think that adapter is hitting the firewall. Oh, we're on the steering drag link too. Okay, so go ahead and lift again, please. Yep. Hey, this side's in. Okay, man, if we could go up like half an inch and back, we'd be home. Oh, it's going. Yeah, I think we're there. Is it lined up?
Like a glove.
Woo! Yes, ouch, ouch. Barneville bites. Well, luck would have it, the scab together motor mounts from the other cross member that was set over the other cross member, cut off and welded to this, line up. Everything fell into place. It wasn't the easiest, but thanks to Skylar for helping underneath the car, we were able to shimmy and shake it into place. So the engine is bolted in once again correctly. Now we just got to address the transmission because now we have a Chevrolet TH350 in here. So we're going to strap it into place temporarily, lift this thing up in the air, and I'm just going to start noodling and doodling, see what happens. Shocks are good. Okay, a guy's got the 389 and Turbo 350 back in the car here. It's not super ideal. If you're looking at doing something like this, I have to say the conversion plate is really, really neat and it works well, but you have to plan for it pushing the transmission backwards. So if you have some sort of stock transmission cross member, you're going to have to modify it anyway. But it's creating some interference-ish up there. Tail shaft's a little bit farther down than I would like, but we're going to try to work with it. Right now I'm going to cut out this old transmission cross member, which you can see was a trailer hitch at one point. And maybe a fence post or something, a couple pieces of angle iron. I like it. I do. But it's got to go. And then this needs moved way up here, where we're going to have a polyurethane bushing. For this transmission, we need something to go across here, hold this in place. And then one of our big key missing components is a drive shaft. But at that point, when this is bolted in, I can actually send some measurements to our drive shaft guys so we can start making that. So this is a pretty big moment, actually. Looking forward to it. Do we have any goggle glasses? We build cars. Follow me for more tips. If I hold them together, they kind of work. Ow! 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 Right on a tattoo. That probably cost $1,000, that's fine. Whoever invented the torch just chose violence that day. I think that sounds free. I'm trying to slowly and delicately cut this out because I don't want to cut the frame. Pretty good precision. Okay, now I just got to get a hammer out, beat the rest of it out of the car. You shall not transmission. What is this? Oh, wow. He welded a bolt to this as a hang-off to cantilever it to then weld it. Smart guy. I like it. Fully approved. Time to get a transmission crossmember in here. So we're going to be making our own essentially because they don't have a kit for the actual crossmember. There are, however, a bunch of universal things out there you can get to get you started, which like is this. It's just a tube. You get some bracketry and things like that. Now is a bunch of measuring, welding, cutting, grinding, drilling, and burns. Okay, let's get started. Ow! 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 Oh, it hurts the hand. Just getting burned today. They should make gloves for welding. So what I'm going to do is actually elongate it. Okay, now for my next trick, I'm just going to cut some angle iron on both sides. We'll try to drill that and make it to where we can actually remove it out of the car. Oh, this, wow. Bonneville crossmember is done. This is what we need. Boop. That's going to leave us enough room for exhaust, and although it looks like it's going to be fairly low, it's not going to be lower than, the rear end stuff or the pumpkin or any of that. So we should be okay-ish. Yes! Yes! Oh, that's done. That was easy. We should do this more often. Finally, success! The 389 and TH350 is permanently installed in the 62 Barneville. It fits good, it looks good, but we still have a tremendous amount of work to do. But don't worry, Friday's come and gone, tomorrow's Saturday. There's still time to get this thing back on the street and time for Woodward cruising. See you tomorrow morning. Woodward Avenue. Not quite the way I wanted to. Day 5, we're out of time. We came to Michigan for a 1962 Pontiac Bonneville. This thing sat in the barn for many years. And, well, we bit off quite a bit on this one. The super hydromatic wasn't going to work. So we spent quite a bit of time researching and ordering an adapter plate. And now we have the 389 hooked to a TH350 transmission. Made motor mounts for it, made a transmission cross member for it. We couldn't find a master cylinder and a couple other pieces. A drive shaft, we came up a little bit short there. Cleaned it up. That's as far as we got. We ran out of time. The Barneville fought us dearly, but we're still out here enjoying Woodward Avenue. We're going to go see the sights, the sounds, the cars, and I'm going to borrow the crew van and do some cruising myself. Smells better than mine. Woodward truly is a special place in automotive history, and the car culture here lives on today in so many different ways. This Cars and Coffee gathering is a prime example. There's so many great cars, all different makes and models and walks of life here. It's definitely one of the best car community vibes you'll get anywhere in the country, and some of the nicest people you'll meet. I've got to explore some more. Since we're here in Detroit, one can simply not go to Woodward Avenue. The car scene is alive and kicking here, that is for sure. And even though we couldn't necessarily cruise our car, we can still show it off. We just went to one of the coolest Cars and Coffees I've ever been to. You talk about a wide variety of vehicles. It was there. Some of the most expensive things I've ever seen. They scared me. They were so shiny. But those car owners were checking out our old 62 Bonneville. Car culture is just awesome. And there's also a lot to do and see. There's a lot of history in buildings and restaurants. And we went and ate at some pretty cool places and museums and all of that. So we're going to drink it in. Make the best of this trip. Paint me a Birmingham. Little Daddy's family restaurant. Uncle Ed's Oil Shop. Shoppe. How's it going? You guys want to race these vans or what? Do it. All right. Oh, no, you got me. Chevy van life, you wouldn't understand. Oh, man, we've got different cars there. Look at that Cadillac. Oh, look at the Buick Riv. Sweet. Well, we've had a great day cruising Woodward and taking in the sights, even if it wasn't in the classic car we had hoped to be in. Speaking of classic cars, I'm going to check out some more beauties that just pulled in and take in some more good vibes of this amazing car community. This week didn't go quite as planned, but this is as real as it gets. Sometimes you buy a project, and it turns out it's more of a parts car. But that won't stop me. I will get this car running and back on the road, and you will see it again. So, stay tuned. How was that? Everybody like it?
Rescues, me and Derek resurrect the GTO.
That's it?
Yep. Not good enough?
Pretty good. I don't think Freiberger wrote that one, though. This week, we're back at Zweifel Motors in Piedmont, South Dakota, where I have stashed away a real gem of a car. Let's go check it out. A little heavy on the foot. I don't understand what happened here. Have to revisit that. Check it out. A 1970 Pontiac GTO. We believe it's a real GTO. Also the cheapest one I could find in the US of A. I don't know anything about this car other than it's been off the road for a decade or two. This is actually the first time I'm seeing it. I bought it sight unseen out of Indianapolis and had it delivered right here. So let's walk around this thing, see what it's going to take to get this running, driving, back on the road, and then we can do burnouts and Black Hills. Sounds pretty good. Let's try to start in the trunk, maybe. Okay, let's go. So I'm noticing this kind of seafoam green color. The paint code is 2828 poly blue that I'm not seeing. It's definitely not the Ridge color. But it's a beautiful blue with kind of a silver sparkle in it. Definitely not an original color here either. There we go. Ooh, broke the seal. Lots of water in the deck lid. That's what you want. Oh, we got an amplifier. She had the boom booms, you know, Dr. Dre style. I could probably sell that amp, maybe get some sparkulators or something. Oh, wow. She is really rusty. Trunk's gone. Goes up into there. We're just going to pretend we didn't see that, though. Okay? Let's jump inside, see what we got going on in there. Yep. Yeah. Oh, it is thick. It's like a baseball mitt full of wet Band-Aids. It's pungent. It's incubating in my lungs. As we speak, there's mold everywhere. The seats, the door panels, the carpets are fuzzy over here. That's fine. The most important thing is we got the his and her shifter. This thing is wild. Check it out. You have your regular low and then drive, neutral, reverse, park. But if you really want to get the groceries, you slam it over here. First, second, third, neutral. You know, for the alleged street racing. These cars were, and still are, very, very sought after. Character, the looks, styling. Ooh. Tire pressure gauge, that's a front pocket find. Okay, now the best part, the hood-mounted tachometer. This one is busted out and the needle snapped off at $4,000. We should see if we can get that working if it runs. Okay, now, most importantly, we have an engine in here with chrome bits. It's already got headers, Edelbroken intake, and fuel make it happen there. It's got big old garden hose, lightning hoses on here. Someone improperly spray painted the block. Buick green. There's 40,000 gallons of room temperature vulcanization cream coming off of it. But it's complete. And I was noticing the Street Machine Nationals car show. It's been there a couple times, so I think someone really snazzed this up for a car show back in the day, which would make sense. But the big question is it actually going to run again and drive? So I think we're going to start with basics. I'm just going to throw in a new lightning cube here. Stay put. Nailed it. Okay. New battery. And this one here. Let's try the key. Oh, we got some aviators. How'd I miss this? Now we're ready. Nothing happened. No wipers. No lights. Uh-oh. So, here's where we're at. If we're super lucky, the starter's just bad. If we're even luckier, the engine's locked up. Because I can hear the Bendix hitting the flex plate, but it's not rotating the motor. And now we have nothing. So, I got an idea. Listen, I'm gonna need some help with this thing. What I'm gonna do is throw this on a trailer, drag it up the road to my brother's house, surprise him, slam this in his garage, and convince him that he needs to help me getting this GTO going. Sean's gonna be really pleased about this one. He's got a 2-car garage in a really nice neighborhood, so we're gonna class it down with the old fuzzy GTO. Well, we made it into town to my brother Sean's house. He was body working a square body here trying to finish this up, but I convinced him it's more important to push this outside so we can work on the GTO.
I thought you just said it just needed a battery or something.
Well, I mean, it does, but also, you know,
Everything else?
tires and brakes, probably a motor, and interior would be cool and clean it up a little bit. You got a few minutes?
Yeah, sure, we're here.
Great. Well, if I could borrow some wind, we'll get some air in the tires, roll this thing off. Sean's got everything we need back here, including a mini fridge that I'm sure is stocked.
Yes.
Great. All right, let's dig in. We're going to try the air shocks. Ready? No, we got a blow line. Try the wheel. Is this going to roll and crush me? Going on. That's a loud compressor. Thought you were going to put wind in that tire.
Yeah, it's already lost all of it.
Does that help when I do that?
I think we lost all wind holding capability.
Yeah. You're doing good, Sean. Yeah. Now we'll just use the jack and...
Yeah.
If you pull the jack, I'll push with my rumpus. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. That looks good there. There's a ton of water in the oil.
It looks normal.
It's 2 quarts overfull with water. We've got a boat anchor 400. Okay, so common sense got a hold of me, and we're going to go ahead and try to rotate the engine with a wrench first, being that it's full of water, and the starter was clicking but not turning. Could be a coincidence, but anyway, I'm going to rotate it by hand, hopefully, make sure that we don't have any issues. And that, my friends, is a stuck motor. So the starter's good. That's the good news. Yeah, I got a cheater pipe. Oh, it moved. It sounds so bad.
What was that?
Acorn just hit me in the face. Don't worry about it. You know what? We should juice it. Should we maybe vacuum the mouse poo off of the...
Before we open all the holes up in the motor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, I just really...
Caught some? Brand new hood, huh?
That's fine. Okay, so we're actually going to pull the sparkulators out and try to put some sort of juice into the cylinders and let it soak for a while. Because all I'm doing as I'm rotating the engine is probably just completely gacking the cylinder walls. And it could be full of water when we pull these out. Okay, now while that's soaking, what do we do? Well, one cylinder came up, our piston. The crank is cranking to some sort of connecting rod. Oh, the upper ball joint is broken. Great. That's a really fun job. Sean has got me anchored so I don't slide on the floor anymore.
Cylinder 2 is pumping.
There it's going.
Oh, I can hear compression now even.
Well, should we try the key now? Here we go!
It's good.
Something's arcing. Wiggle the cables. Yeah, that's what it is.
This cable appears arcing.
Which one?
Negative. Jeez, I got shocked. Don't stop doing that now.
Yeah! Okay. Sounds like a Mopar starter. You know, a dying dolphin. We need to crawl under this thing and rebuild the starter, and by that I mean hit it with a hammer. Sean Mean Wilson is taking off the tires, wheels, and banging his tools on the floor so we can feel like we did something today. This guy's over here using air. Now get that out of that socket. I've been doing this for an hour.
Nope. Ah! Well, now I just broke that.
That was original, dude. Why is everything stuck on this? This is unbelievable. I'm about to flip this car over. Oh, brake fluid in my pee. Never had to use an impact on a...
Oh yeah, good sign right away.
100% water.
Oh.
Wait. Gasoline and water. And now Folgers. And that looks like pigeon poop. Now it's looks like ham gravy with lumps. Yeah, this is not good, gentlemen. Hey, have me some brake clean, would you? See, what is that? Getting some really weird, chunky stuff out. Reminding me of the red dually. Remember that thing? We had mouse houses in there. I think we figured out the random oil pressure issue we were having. Well, we just drained the oil and confirmed that it was, in fact, a plugged pickup screen. I've never seen this before, and I've been doing this decades. Mouse house and probably several Mises came out of the drain plug hole into the pan. So without question, mice actually blew up our engine.
Oh, dang. That's where they were at. It looks kind of like a dead raccoon in there. The crank's not wiped out, though. Oh, that's gross how you touched it.
It's not looking good. So I'm going to leave the drain open. Sean's going to pour a gallon of oil on the top, and we're going to let it run to the bottom and try to flush some of this stuff out. There it comes. Yeah, I think that's doing the trick. Gross.
Some good stuff coming out of the filter, too.
Oh my gosh, this poor car. Do you think squirrels listen to Megadeth?
I don't think that they do.
Ready? Perfect. So Sean installed a spark checker bulb flasher thing over there. If it flashes, we have spark. If it doesn't, then we don't. And, because we never even pulled the cap off, because we're lazy. And I'm filling the carburetor up with transmission fluid. No, it's actually kind of got some gas in it. And if all goes well, we're going to hit the key and hear this thing fire off for the first time in many, many, many years, and hopefully not knock like a cabin screen door. Right?
Right.
All right, here we go. Bring the thunders. It's dead again. Did we lose our ground?
Yeah, let's get shocked again, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Try the SAT cable. What just happened?
I don't know.
I think that starter's gone.
Quality parts you get these days, huh?
I just can't have nothing nice. So tired of laying in this brake fluid puddle. This is my life now. Oh, I'm smelling it. It smells like burnt electronics. Why? Was the engine that tight that it just cooked it? It's got 12 volts. So the starter's bad.
Why is everything junk anymore, huh?
Well, let's go get hibachi. Think about it. We're at Sean's place, Western South Dakota, working on the 1970 Pontiac GT Oh No.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Kind of feeling down this morning. We didn't get a lot done yesterday. But then, Sean, I realized this thing was locked up yesterday sitting in grass. It has moved, and the wheels are off.
A lot of progress.
Yeah. So we're on our third starter. I think we try to get this thing rotating today on its own. So you might be wondering, Derek, why are you pulling the radiator out while he's putting a starter in? That seems weird. Well, I'm trying to be proactive here because there's several things in the pot of mixing. First of all, Pontiacs are known for having timing chain issues. The pulleys themselves, with age, not necessarily miles, start to crack and break, or the teeth just completely wear off, and it throws your engine out of time, essentially, and it won't run. 99% of the Pontiacs around this era that I've had have needed the timing chain. We'd be extremely lucky if that wasn't the case. So we got to start thinking about that. I also noticed this timing cover is already broken. We've got a water pump, questionable installation there. So I have a feeling if the engine does run, I'm going to be in the front of it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and take this old radiator out, which is empty, and I can see it's full of scales and crusts and everything else. So trying to hit a rock with two birds, or whatever. We vacuumed this for 40 minutes yesterday, and there's still a pile of poo 6 feet high right there.
That was like the walnut storage area.
Found the kitchen. This must be the baking powder hose. Well, Sean got a starter in, I got a fan off. Our powers combined.
We made things less but better.
Yes. So let's see if the new starter will actually turn this motor over. Sean tried it by hand. It seems to be spinning So we might have just got a really terrible starter out of the box. Battery's hot. Here we go. Absolutely nothing. Jiggle the ground. If not, it's the 10 gauge wire that runs the ignition. You can do it.
What is happening? What just happened?
Well, the motor runs.
It runs. There's knocking.
But don't worry about that. How did you arc the starter wires arc?
I didn't do anything. I literally just pushed that on there.
That was weird.
I don't know. You can pull the starter out, I guess.
It's like auto start. Just boom! Turns the starter, ignition, everything on right at the same time. I guess the key must be forward, huh?
Oh, is that what's going on?
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully the knocking goes away. The bearing could resurface it itself. You know?
Yeah, this happens all the time.
Just the header link, yeah. Yes! We're not rebuilding it. It's got a small exhaust leak over here. It barely smokes.
Oh, let's air this thing out for a minute, huh?
What, the garage?
No.
Are you that sensitive to smoke?
Yes.
Pontiac woes. So hidden underneath all of this garbly gook is this timing chain set. These are notorious for water pumps failing. There's a backing plate behind the water pump. Those rot out conveniently. There's also an O-ring that gets pressed between the timing cover case and the intake. That always fails. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here. Wow. The entire front of this block needs to be disassembled. Just coughs dirt. Before I pulled everything off, I made sure we're at a timing mark here. We have to remove the crankshaft pulley, the damper, cover, the water pump, the charging whirler, get the power steering out of the way. I'm gonna try to pull the fuel pump with the cover because I'm lazy. So I think it's stuck. Good Lord. By golly. Finally got it. But this chain, look at this slop. Terrible. But we'll get it fixed up. Wow. Okay, dot to dot. Much better.
Well, Derek's working on the motor. I figured I will vacuum and clean out this interior and rip out this moldy carpet.
I've got parts. Honeysuckle, the fuel pump's on.
Well, you see, we got some ankle vents down here, so instead of doing the right thing and welding metal in there, we're just going to self-tap some old plates in there now.
That is the right thing. We need the, oh no, music.
So what we got here is big stretch caulking for house remodels and stuff. It's flexible, so it'll work really well on the car. See him laying in like a bead?
Well, a guy has successfully installed new timing gears, timing chain, timing cover, water pump, and fuel pump in the rig, although we don't know if there's anything in the tank. Haven't even checked. Now I'm going to take the intake off, which means I'm taking the ignition off and the carburetor and all the linkages and doodads and whatnots and wires and hoses, because we're going to do some Rust-Oleum rings. You know, the old Craigslist rebuild. Lost receipts. Could be at my mom's, I'm not sure. We're going to paint this thing up, make it look new, via spray can. Now, it's a little bit tricky for us Pontiac fellers and fellettes, because it's hard to find the right color anymore. And as you can see, this guy used a Buick kind of turquoise, which is common because it's hard to find. This one here looks pretty good. It's an SP403. It's a titanium silver blue, and it's closer-ish to the original color, and that's what we're going to hit it with. It's going to take many, many, many light coats. The passenger seat looks, whew, man. Time for an intake on the Pontiac here. Gonna use a performance dual plane. Yes, there was one on it, but it was super cruddy. I actually decided to paint this, and I know that's weird. A lot of people buy these not only for the performance, but the look. But I don't know, I kind of like the color we're going with, and maybe kind of look like a stock intake. Oh, jeez. Paint fumes are getting to a guy. Woo! Well, we're fixing to get to a stopping point today, I think. Sean is killing it on the interior. I unfortunately have to let this thing dry before I can start doing any other assembly. And then tomorrow we're going to be hearing this thing run again, I guess.
Burnouts.
Okay, that's a little aggressive, but we'll try. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, we're back at Sean's garage this morning working on the 70 GTO. Paint is dry. I'm ready to finish assembly on this engine. I've got a different intake, different carbontator. We're going to update the sparkulator hoses. Those are all chewed up and whatever. New sparkulators, get some belts on this thing. I am going to upgrade the radiator as well and move it to digital fans. I've got quite a bit of work to do up here. Where are you going to start?
Well, I think I'll start on the gas tank.
Okay. So new tanks, we're not sucking up a bunch of rust and debris into the new fuel system up here.
That's the plan.
That would make sense. Our goal is to really cruise this thing around some different areas of the Black Hills, so we don't want to be changing out filters and beating on the fuel tank and all that. So we're going to divide and hopefully conquer, most likely fail. Okay.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Instead of trying to get this old Edelbrock fixed up and, looking good, I'm going to go ahead and swap it out with the Brawler 650 with mechanical secondaries and digital choke. That should go right on this thing. A little bit of adjustment, make a big improvement. Updating the cooling system on the GTO. We're going to go with cold case again. These guys make drop-in systems for pretty much anything out there. And what's great about that is we don't have to modify the radiator support or any of that stuff. And it comes with 2 digital fans, which Freiberger has taught me don't put your fingers in. And also the relay and everything that we need to wire it up. So I'll drop it in, do the wiring, clip in the hoses, done.
Derek, I might need a hand. You're just gonna break it. Okay. Whammo.
We're fixing to head to lunch, but first, I want to fire this up again and just see how it's running, what's a new ignition and intake and fuel making happener and everything that we've done. So we'll give it a shot here. Go ahead. That planking is on this side. It's definitely a lifter. Not sure if it's stuck or we're not getting oil all the way to the top end. Okay, time for lunch. Runs terrible. Well, the guide threw some Earl into the topside. Meanwhile, Sean's got the Kragers on, and man, they look great. Really changed the look of the car. They're similar to the Pontiac Rallies, but I think the chrome is doing something here. I don't know if it's the bass boat paint or something.
It's definitely the paint.
Yeah. So, well, it runs, theoretically should drive. It's time to find out. It hasn't moved under its own power in over a decade. We're going to try to land in Deadwood, South Dakota. It's a historic town. It was born in 1876, the big old gold rush and everything up there. And if you're familiar with names like Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane, that's their turf. We're going to go check that stuff out and have some fun. GT. Oh, yeah.
No brakes. You're not gonna be able to drive this.
Captain's log?
I mean, like, that's the worst brakes I've ever felt in my life.
Have you seen the show?
We can't go through the hills like that, dude. We're gonna die. You try it.
Watch out.
Never mind. Everything's fine.
The skid.
Okay. Operator error.
I think you're just used to real brakes.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
These are GTO no brakes. All right, let's scrub this bass boat up. Okay, second shower of the morning. Wow. Don't worry about that lifter knocking.
I'm not.
Okay. Ready, Sean?
I'm ready. I'm born ready.
We have a 100-mile route planned today, and we should hopefully end up in Deadwood, South Dakota. It's going to be a lot of fun. See how far we make it.
It shifts hard.
It's got a shift kit for sure. Oh yeah. That steers. Shift. Jesus. Never had a car in the show chirp them in second. That is violent.
It is.
Just popped my back. Do we have third gear? That's the question.
Could make for a long day if we don't.
Third gear, free revving. So that's 100 miles at 40 miles an hour. Guess we can get to know each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, it drives straight. It handles okay.
No horn though.
Yeah, no horn. Runs. Wish that lifter would stop doing that. Temperature light just came on. It's pretty good.
Me and Derek went to school to your left, middle school.
That's where I almost hit Wheelman Willie.
Oh.
Turning left right there. We really don't have third gear. Says we're doing 70. Second. Well, now we know why it was parked. I wonder, should we check the transmission fluid? So we pulled over really quick. We don't have third gear, and I just wanted to check the shift machine. And sure enough, we're a couple quarts low, so we're going to try to throw some more sauce in there. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can grab third. Otherwise, it's going to be a long, slow day. Boom, third gear clutches. Come on, third gear. Come on! Come on, third gear! Even though you got. Yeah, whoa, it shifted. Let's keep rolling. We got third. Really had to just give her. Wonder if we just floor it again, we'll get third. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better.
She wants to run.
Yeah, wants to be driven like a GTO. Why you light-footing me?
You know, I built all those guardrail here, Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's called a tri-beam.
This is probably the first car I don't feel grossed out in.
Yeah.
There was so much mold on these door cards and stuff, I thought they were shot. That magic scrubby whirler you had,
She did the work.
that was the jam. Oh, we forgot to fix the ball joint that's completely separated and almost ready to fall out. See how the tires angle around the corner? Woo! I also like the power steering clipping in and out. It's a really neat feeling. Car's kind of lucky, you think about it. It gets parked in Indiana, in some backyard for a decade and a half, and it wakes up in the Black Hills. Gets a bunch of new parts, and we just jam it straight, no test, just jam it straight into the Black Hills and get the blast through here.
No test, no ball joints,
No brakes.
no brakes.
No, it's a lot of fun though, and I'm just glad that this thing is roadworthy once again, and someone's really going to get to enjoy this vehicle. You said it best yesterday, it really is a good platform for someone to
It is.
drive it, work on it, fix it up over time.
Yep.
It's not perfect, but it's solid.
It's a solid builder, that's for sure. Really good fishing down here. So I've been told.
Probably bass by the looks of it. Oh, he's trolling.
It is like one of the most pretty lakes you can think of.
I caught a catfish 8 feet long out of there.
That's a lie.
Yeah. That was everything. Sorry about your neck. Woo!
The Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane are buried in that Mount Moriah Cemetery, which I think we're going to, aren't we?
Yes. Imagine these streets in winter, 7 feet of snow. How did they get through here with horses back in the day? Had to really sucked. The GTO has made it to Mount Moriah here in Deadwood, South Dakota. This thing's actually really good, I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Transmission's a little wonky, but it steers, it drives, it's comfortable, it looks great. It kind of has power. We found this thing in a backyard. It had been sitting there for over a decade, and we knew the thing just had to be saved. It's the iconic GTO. We did timing chain, timing cover, water pump. Oh, Suzuki Samurai, dude. Ours sounds exactly the same. All right, ready? We did a timing chain and gear set, timing cover, water pump, basically all the hoses, doodads, whatnot, 4-barrel intake, threw a 650 mechanical secondary on there, tuned up the ignition, didn't touch the transmission or the brakes, really. What'd you do back here with the...
Did a fuel tank, and I put new air lines in for the air shocks, and we did a new brakes for the back.
Tires, wheels, cleaned it up a little bit. Sean did an amazing job on the interior, and for a little of nothing, this is a family cruiser right here, I gotta be honest. It's a very comfortable car. It's the scenic way to turn around, I guess. I think this is the first roadworthy car, Sean, that I don't gag driving the thing.
No, it's actually really clean in there now.
I'm gonna give it the official going to town stamp. But we've got some more cruising to do. We should head down the hill, go drag down Deadwood and have some fun, and then maybe head down to Sturgis. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
Fine.
let's do it. Pretty awesome drive today, huh? Yeah, there's the old gold mine, 1906. They converted it into a ballroom and hotel.
So the roads are brick. It's pretty cool, huh?
There's Saloon 10. Wild Bill Hickok caught one right in the old back with the dead man's hand. This is probably one of the last casino towns that actually used coins. They phased that out, 10 years ago, probably?
Yeah.
But that was fun. You throw a quarter in. You won $10, but it sounded like you won $1 million because it was like... tick, 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 tick. Sean and I took the Indiana GTO. It's been sitting off the road for about 13 years. Thrashed on it in just a couple days. Got her back roadworthy again. Cruised the Black Hills. Got to see a bunch of sights. Hung out in Deadwood for a little bit. And eventually ended up right where we started here at Zweifel Motors. Pulled it out of the grass up there on the hill. It was an awesome day. That's going to do it for this episode of Roadworthy Rescues. We saved this classic car, but stay tuned. There's plenty more to come.